Hello, today we're going to talk about modal verbs and degrees of certainty. In other words, how can we show how sure we are that something's going to happen? If we're 90% sure or 50% sure, what modal verb do we use? I'm going to talk about present time modal verbs, past time, past progressive, progressive, future, all of those. Let's get started. Let's start with modal verbs about the present. Or, in other words, how certain are we about something that is maybe happening right now? In the picture, you can see our mystery door. Who is behind that mystery door? We can use some modals to show how sure we are about who's there. Let's start with modals that give us the idea of 50% certainty or less, or we're less than half sure what's happening behind that door, or who is behind that door. The first modal verb we can use here is may to get this 50% or less certainty. So if we think who is behind that door, well, we could say, well, it may be John. It may be any of those other people, but there's some chance that it's John. So who's behind the door? It may be John. Well, it might be Helga. So sometimes we use may, sometimes we use might. Might plus the base form of the verb, or might plus the verb. It might be Helga behind that door. It could be Maria. Could be John, could be Helga, could be Maria. So a quick review, we have it may be John, may plus the verb. It might be Helga, might plus the verb. And we also have it could be Maria, could plus the verb. All those for less than 50% certainty. Who is behind the mystery door? The mystery door is the door for the women's bathroom. If that door is the women's bathroom, well, it's probably not John, but then could be Maria, could be Helga. If I know that it's either Maria or Helga, but I can look around the room and I see Maria is not here right now. One other clue I have is that I saw Maria drinking a lot of water this morning. A lot of water. Maria was drinking a lot of water and she's not here right now. I am 95% sure that Maria is behind the mystery door. So I could say it must be Maria. So we would use must plus the verb to talk about 95% certainty. Maybe 95% certainty isn't enough for me. So I knock on the bathroom door and I say, "Hey, Maria, are you in there?" Maria probably says something like, "Hey, crazy person, quit knocking on the women's bathroom door." Then, when I hear Maria's voice, I'm 100% sure that's Maria. So I would just say, Maria is in the bathroom, or it is Maria. So a quick review. Who's behind the door? If I'm less than 50% sure, I don't know. It may be John. It might be Helga. It could be Maria. If I'm 95% sure, I would say, oh yes, it must be Maria. If I'm 100% sure, I would say, it is Maria. When we talk about the negative form for these degrees of certainty, there is one thing I want to point out. And that is, if you can see on the left where I have it could be Maria, it's possible, so less than 50%. But then if you look at the negative on the right, you can see it couldn't be John. So couldn't be gives me the idea of it's not possible, like I'm 95% sure. So that could, which is less than 50% on the left, changes to 95% when we make it negative. Otherwise, everything else is pretty logical, whether it's on the left side or the right side.